On today's try to finish something, I have a build that I want to do. When I was at Galaxy's Edge and in line for Rise of the Resistance, you walk through an armory, and I've been amassing quite a lot of Star Wars blasters, and I would like to make some sort of a storage locker container to put some of my Star Wars blasters, like seen in Rise of the Resistance. But it's doing something here in California it doesn't normally do. It's raining, and it's really starting to annoy me. Yes, we need the rain, blah, blah, blah. I need a blaster case. So what I'm going to do is this. You've got just a few days left on the Star Wars Art Challenge, and I'm going to take some of my kids' paints, and I'm going to do what I would have done had this contest been done by somebody else. I'm going to paint something. I haven't painted something in a very long time. Since high school. I'm going to paint what I would be inspired to do had I been given the prompt Star Wars ships. Still find that very hard to say. Star Wars ships. I'm going to take that prompt and I'm going to do a painting. And that's what I'm going to do on today's Try to Finish Something. So my plan is simple enough. Paint. But me being me, I can't just leave it that simple. It's not enough that I haven't painted since high school, which has been 30-ish plus years. I have to add some roadblocks and challenges to make it more, I don't know, fun for myself. I'm just going to use whatever paints my kids have on hand. And to be fair, I also have a good assortment of acrylics on hand as well, all the colors that I use for weathering. But I'm also giving myself a time limit, 2 hours from start to finish. Oh yeah, and one more thing, no reference picture. I'm not allowing myself to see a picture of what I'm trying to paint. My plan is to make this picture inspired by the Ralph McQuarrie images, but not looking at his images. I've been doing a lot of planning for the ship crashing through my ceiling of my build room and looking through a lot of pictures for reference of the orange pilot jumpsuits and looked at the Ralph images a lot, so they're pretty fresh in my head, and I want that same overall look. You know, the turning pilot, Luke in the foreground, and the snowspeeder canopy open just behind the pilot. The helmet. The helmet is going to be a little tougher without a reference, and if I get this wrong, it's going to throw it all off. And I just weathered one a few weeks ago, so I think I know the basics. It's the Mohawk ridge, the round earpieces that have the recess in the middle. The helmet had a design inside the earpiece and a Rebel logo on the front part of the helmet, with the helmet blast shield sticking out a bit, and the mic, and a chin cup. I think this is close enough for the sketch. Now the flight suit. I can't remember if the real pilot or the Ralph sketches had the almost life vest style neck piece, and I thought one of them had the same ridged pattern of the vest down the sleeves, kind of like that Kylo Ren pleated pattern. Crap, now I can't remember if they had that or not. I'm gonna go with it. Remember, not going for accuracy. This is my Star Wars ship inspiration, not going for accuracy necessarily. Now, I can't figure out the hand. Does looking at my own hand count as using a reference? Am I already breaking the rules? And I also can't remember if the pilot's gloves were black or white. I'm just sketching this now. I guess the color doesn't really matter. Okay, on to the chest box. This is when I wish I was using a reference. I have no idea what the greeblies and things are on the chest box. I'm going to go with a few, I don't know, big buttons on the left, maybe two smaller rectangles on the right, and some sort of a large, almost hard drive thing under the buttons, and maybe two of the R2-D2 two vents on the left with, I don't know, something at the bottom. It's good enough. I also think other than the large AT-AT foot coming down, I want one more in the distance in the background. I'm going to obscure that one by smoke, I think. Now the big foot of the walker. On to the paint. I will start with the orange in a few shades to create wrinkles and texture to the material. And I think I'm going to go with black for the gloves. And as I'm putting it on, I think it's the wrong color. But with all of the snow, I don't want too much white in the picture. Now I'm thinking with the black, it's going to be harder to show the definition of the fingers and stuff, but I'm just going to make it work. I hope. And it's time to paint the chest box and give it some color and some detail. And now the other arm and the rest of the flight suit. And my white Kylo pleats. And, you know, the more that I see these, the more I don't think they're actually on the flight suits, and they're probably not even on the Ralph McQuarrie sketches either. Oh well. I'm going to just shade them in with a little yellow and some gray to make them stand out from the snow. And on to the helmet. As if I needed another handicap in this painting, painting and filming is hard. I can't move the painting really, so I'm having to move around it, and it's a little awkward painting and not moving your canvas. I think there are some red stripes on the top, and I'll do the Rebel logo red, and whatever that black design is on the inside of the ear. I know that I'm looking at this, I know it's all wrong, but I'm okay with that. I've got to move on. This is inspired by. It is not an accurate painting. Now the blast shield and some color on the face. All right, now the paint should be dry enough for some black outlines here and there. See, my style has always been more comic book style, and I like the hard black lines, so I'm just adding some edges in here and there. And not every edge. It's more like sketching the black pin on top of the painting to add some definition to specific places. And it looks like the only blue my kids have is a watercolor paint. I'm not sure how that's going to mix with the white acrylic, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to add a snowdrift in here. It might be the trench created by the crashed snowspeeder. Nah, who knows? And I'm going to erase some of the canopy and then paint the canopy. I noticed when I painted Luke, I was wishing that my pencil lines weren't so pronounced because it made them hard to cover and, paint over. I don't really remember the number of windows on the speeder canopy. I know the bottom of the front window had this notch in it. The problem is I'm a stickler for details. So when I do a challenge like this with a time limit and no reference, it forces me to not focus on the details and do more broad strokes. See, I'm not just doing this because I'm insane. It actually forces me to relax on the obsessive details that I'm always trying to get. I will reflect some of the blue from the snow in the windows of the speeder. And it's time to paint the giant foot. A whole lot of black and gray. I think in the center I'm going to throw in some brown and some blue. Not for any reason other than just to break up the black. And time to do the toes of the walker. Oops, sorry, you missed a little bit there. My battery died and I had to plug in. You missed me adding the blue to the sky and taking the black Sharpie to the giant foot and toes and adding some of those comic-style lines. I put a bit of a gray wash on the distant walker and a few lines and added some clouds and some more detail. Now, to throw on my jacket and run out to the garage to get some masking tape for my smoke idea. Ooh, this orange tape is pretty sticky. I think I'm going to try this yellow. What I'm doing is I'm masking off the foreground because I'm going to hit the smoke areas with my airbrush. I'm pretty new to the airbrush and I'm trying to find projects to get me more comfortable using it. So here's my plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with a brush later. I just want to use my airbrush for the broad strokes and the fluidity of the smoke, and I'm just going to have to mask off my front character and then add all of my curves and smoke flow. Now I'm really wishing I had reference, at least to see some actual photos of smoke. I am thinking a few lines to show the movement and direction, then the billows and bumps of the smoke. Then I'll come back with a lighter gray on the brush and add some definition and highlights. All right, it's time to peel off the masking tape and then add the last of my edging with my black pen. And I guess I should sign it? Okay, and I am under my time. I'm calling my Star Wars art challenge with the prompt of Star Wars ships finished. I hope you enjoyed the video and will consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And as always, if you didn't, just keep it to yourself. And we'll see you next time as we try to finish something.